Okay. Just in case anyone shows up and is like, where do I go?
Hang
I
on.
saw that started something. It's like,
Then-
oh,
Sorry.
Sure.
Hi, Linda. Oh, we are in the truck bed. The truck? Yeah,
was coming.
okay, see you then. Yeah.
Hey.
This is a good spot because the draft is on the other end.
Good little draft. It's like, you know, my, oh,
We can cuddle.
okay.
I missed something. Look for the union meeting. Hospital. Hospital union people. Yeah. I don't know if, we're starting for. It's your one. Carol, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
I believe you are the, what else is on? Juan is on. I'm just waiting for him to come back. If we could just give it a couple of minutes for Juan to rejoin.
Was supposed to happen next week. The future of that performance is unclear. This
So for those online, we're just waiting. I didn't join it. We're just waiting a couple of minutes. We have, one council member, who had to step out for a moment. He will be right back. So right now, for roll call, I'll do roll call for who's here.
Please, I'm working, Pat.
Well, turn it off.
I am working, you guys stop
Sorry,
talking.
can you mute your phones? Or your computers? So, the one, was on and he will be returning. Ronnie is not able to join us today. Morris is here. I do not think Abdus is joining us. Linda is here. Donna. And also we have Jason Foster, now the Commissioner of Public Works. So as soon as I hear back from one, we can move on. For some reason, my audio just keeps doing double echo, and I joined with that up here video.
Yeah, that's odd.
I'll give it until 6:05 and then we can begin. Linda, I see that you're on, Linda Fennoff.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you see me?
So Justice White chose.
Yes.
Oh, go on,
Okay.
you're back. Okay,
Yep.
great. Yep, I already checked you in as attending, so we have in the room here, we have, Linda Musselman and Donna, as well as Jason Foster. And Michael is with us, and so that's it. We haven't met in a little while. The wheels of DOT turn slowly. So in August, we sent our letter to them. On December 29th, I got a response after some follow-up. They said, if you have questions, contact us, so I did, to schedule a meeting, which occurred was Jason's last week.
Yeah.
We finally met with them. Yes, so from August to February, time scale. Okay. So the most interesting thing in the communication that we received, you may recall, we had three questions. One was eliminating 9G as red. One was eliminating 9, which connects at Worth, going across the top of town and connects up to Fairview. And the other was barring 53-foot trucks from coming through town. So the thing that was particularly significant, and when we met with them, they pulled up all of their maps, is that actually 9G is not an access highway. That the route was put in, I think in the 80s, specifically to allow trucks that were going to what was then a depot, what is now the antique warehouse. But that anything that travels north, any 53-foot tractor trailer traveling north on 9G can actually be pulled over because that is not a legal route for 53-foot trailer. So they're not, am I saying this correctly, Jason? They were pretty clear that removing any kind of route is something that they do very seldom and with much difficulty. So eliminating that route would not be an option. However, 53-foot trucks traveling beyond LMB are actually not legal on that road per New York State DOT. The issue with regard to 9 is that we do have to provide access for 9 on either side of town. And so that's the issue with Worth. And I'm going to get to something else that Jason was looking at related to that. With regard to 53-foot trucks, and we did show them the video that we all looked at months ago, the two trucks on Park Place, crossing. The situation there is that because those trucks are coming on what is an access highway at that point, you cannot treat a 53-foot truck differently from a 48-foot truck. So trying to say we don't want 53-footers coming through, I think is something that we would probably have a lot of difficulty persuading directors. Yeah. They are willing to put in, and look at, we have to look back with them, an advisory notice signage at the Stewart's Corner when you come off the rip and you're coming down 23 and 9G goes up. They would be willing to put out some signage indicating that beyond LMB, through trucks, 53 trucks are not leaving on that road. So that is an option. We also followed up, shared the information with Chief of Police and the Commissioner. And Jason and I met with them this morning. And from their perspective, you know, they're willing to look at enforcing the rule regarding the 53-foot trucks, because if they're not legal on that stretch, then they're not legal. There are a couple of things, challenges that we would have to work through. At what point could they pull people over? It would require, and they're willing to do this, collaborating with the state DOT Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit to try to get the word out that if you're over 53 foot, you can't come down that road. That's where we are. Did I miss anything, Jason? We can talk about prospect in a moment, but I want to see what anyone has to say at this point with what we found out. Any thoughts?
So regarding implementation, I'm just wondering, would it be possible to have a temporary electronic signage to indicate the change? So
That's what they're, I think, suggesting at the Stewart's. But they would put up advisories
So maybe also at the border,
at
at the
that point.
Hudson border.
Yeah.
And what about the other end?
Yeah, we talked about that. That's trickier because a 53-foot truck coming down Fairview and turning on Green right now, that's a legal route. And what we would stop them from doing is continuing on down Columbia. But, sorry, yeah, exactly. But trying to put, that's not a spot where you can really throw any deal. So that's going to be trickier, and it's really going to be more a question of educating the truckers that this is not a through route for 53.
And are the trucks coming from the 9, we're that 9 to Warren Park Place?
And back out Green, yeah.
Yeah, so it would affect them too, right?
No,
No, they're leaving. That's an all that is an access.
But if they were going to Columbia.
but that's where you would block Columbia and say you cannot go down Columbia because that's not a through road.
You have to go to Green.
You'd have to go, yes, you could do that circle going, coming in and then going north of Fairview, or coming south of Fairview and going, on Worth, or going up 66. Nice read, the 66.
But they're willing to put one sign up and not two.
They're willing, well, we didn't talk about numbers, but they're willing to consider some kind of advisory. They said they'd have to meet to talk about what they could put up.
We could put signs in our own.
We
I
can.
know,
Yes, well, we ideally need something at Stewart's.
Their help was because we don't own
Right.
land in 22.
so the city would put up something, to convert it off of Columbia.
I think so, yes.
So Margaret, I have a question. I mean, if we could forward the 43-foot truck, but is there any way DOT could update the GPS system for the trucker to,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
we talked about that. And that's actually kind of tricky, and I'm not sure DOT has a solution on the.
We don't know how to do it. We tend to look into it, but we don't at this time quite understand how that gets done. But yes,
Make
that
friends,
would be a goal.
Make friends with that,
yeah, make friends at Google.
oh, with Google.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Google Maps do anything special for trucks.
But that is, Dawn, that is something that we're looking into, because obviously that's a big issue. Particularly the truckers who are not familiar with the area. The ones who are familiar probably have figured out ways to avoid coming through. But those that are not familiar are just getting directed in through Hudson.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem we have because all the drivers follow the GPS. And that's how they end up coming in the town inside the local, route.
But I think it's, I'm very happy to hear that. In point of fact, we don't have to get permission from anybody that it's actually illegal by the 53-foot truck driving on that stretch of 9G in front.
Unless they're making local delivery.
Local deliveries do not count. This is only for through traffic. Yeah, and this has always been about through traffic. So the other thing I want to mention, I posted 2 images that Jason had been researching after the discussion with DOT. He was researching safety measures that we might put in place on Park Place. And we showed those to the police department today. Bollards that would go on the corner. So as you know, and we did try to explain to DOT that, the 53-foot trucks really are not the same as the 48 because the back end of it sticks out. And that's when they are making that turn on Park Place, coming down Warren and trying to turn on Park, or coming down Park and trying to turn on Warren, that they're jumping the curb. So there's this type of bollard, and then there's another one. Do you want to explain these to us, how they work?
So the idea behind this bollard is that if a truck tire hits it, the truck tire will jump kind of sideways, but if you put in something more substantial, you can damage the truck or end up with an accident, but a truck would know that they hit this element, but it would not cause an issue right at the moment. So that's that shape. The tire kind of rides up on it and shifts sideways. And the other one with the vertical piece on it is just the same, except it lets pedestrians know that this is a dangerous spot. I think we have to work around the the disabled ramp. We have one there that goes straight off the corner. It might be a better setup if we had the double ramps, but we'll have to work out how it would work, but there has to be enough room for someone to still pass.
Okay.
But if you put that right in the middle of the ramp, but we can put it to one side of the ramp, and just to be worked out, but it seems like a really good solution. It's a heavy cast iron bell.
I have a question about this.
House Republicans and Democrats.
Can I say? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can people mute their computers or phones because they're getting some?
I think there's just extra background noise on the line.
Oh, maybe it's mine, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, in case there's an accident or something with this, who's gonna get liability for that? We're gonna take the liability for this, like a accident, because.
Who's liable?
Us,
If
yeah.
it's an accident, who would be liable?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
There was an accident resulting from someone hitting a bollard, who would be liable for that?
Well,
Those
the bollard is on the pavement and the truck shouldn't be on the.
On the side.
On the side, yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
said
right.
it.
That's right.
Oh, pavement is the street.
It's an Irish thing.
Yes, sidewalk. They shouldn't be on the sidewalk in the first place.
So it's meant to be a deterrent. And then
That's the
hopefully-
intention.
And hopefully they won't come back that way again.
Or they'd be more careful on the turn. So other things that we talked about with the police department was possibility of putting in a light. But that's not a good plan because of, they pointed out that there would be a backup of trucks on Warren if we were to do that. And also it's very short distance from, if you had a light there, to the light that's at 7th and the other side of the park, like on 7th and 1. So that's not really an option. you want to talk about Prospect?
Well, I think Prospect is just a rough thought in the future because the DOT had a reaction to us. They're looking at, we're going over the map, we're going all over our situation, and why don't they just go up Prospect? And it's obvious, it's the shortest route. We have had, there's been discussion around the city about the triangular intersection at Prospect and Columbia Turnpike. And so it is not impossible to imagine that if trucks went up past the hospital, there was a light or a four-way stop at Prospect and Columbia Turnpike, that they could then continue, could modify the corner. There is enough space. There's a pole there where there's a current stop sign where Prospect meets Columbia, not Columbia Turnpike. That could be eliminated, wouldn't be necessary. It was discussed whether we might block Columbia Street between, so that it's no longer a triangle. For all traffic up Columbia Street would need to come to this intersection of Columbia Turnpike and Prospect Avenue. And it's just a concept, but it's brought up by the reaction of DOT, saying that this might be something they could help with, something that they seemed fairly obvious to them. I think it would be a big project. It would need some figuring out, but it's not the craziest thing ever.
And it would eliminate the problem of Prospect.
These trucks would rather go that way rather than.
Well, they wouldn't be allowed to come in. Basically, they would, when they come down Worth, instead of going on Warren, they'd go on Prospect. And they would be routed up and then they would connect to 66 Columbia Turnpike. And then on to Fairview.
Yeah, not going to Fairview Extension.
Right, that's not.
Just, then they would just continue out 66. And go to Healy Boulevard if they wanted to get to Lowe's or what have you.
Yeah.
Um,
And Healy Boulevard is actually an access highway in DOT.
It
Never,
is.
yeah.
yes, it is.
So that was just, again, based on DOT's reaction. Doesn't solve it for all our town, but we can see some definite advantages to that over Park Place.
Yeah. Police department did bring up, that the, road bed on Prospect is not, it would need work. And we'd need, I think if we were going to go that route, we'd have to have DOT behind us and getting us financing to actually make that road work.
Yeah, I think it would be a very big project.
Yes.
Do they maybe leave the triangle?
Well, like I said, it probably needs a traffic engineer. This was just people spitballing in the meeting, but that was how it was described.
Yeah.
But the main point that you said, that you pointed out, is that we can do something about Columbia now.
Yes.
And if it works for the 53-foot trucks, we can, within our own city, eliminate that as a truck route altogether. But then it puts all the pressure on the other truck. So that's not an absolute no-brainer, because we've had that pushback before.
But at the end of the day, it is currently illegal for a 53-foot truck to come down Nunju. That is a fact.
But if you want to eliminate it, we have to write the letter.
We can,
No.
We
I
can do
think
it
there's no
ourselves.
point, there's no point in trying to eliminate.
No, I'm just saying, but
Yeah, to actually eliminate the whole thing, it's highly unlikely.
No, but let's be clear about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if it's not an access highway, we can do whatever we want.
so we can do that.
So we can do that.
Yes.
We can't eliminate anything that is.
No, I understand. That's
We
what.
can't eliminate from Stewart's to the river,
But after that, we can.
but we can stop them going beyond it.
And we can eliminate Columbia Street
Yes,
Oh, South Third.
Yeah.
that's not an access highway.
and Park.
Right, but the city can do that,
Yes, we don't need permission.
but then dumps too much traffic in another.
Not necessarily. It's to
We
be-
could
because
try.
we no longer, sometime this summer, we may not have gravel trucks doing that.
Which will make a big difference.
Depends how that goes.
So, just some information. In the truck study report, there was a section where they did some analysis on origin destination study of trucks coming through the city to identify through trucks versus trucks that were making stops. And the concept of eliminating 9G 23B, the truck route, which is essentially what we're talking about now. It was expected, well, the data they had, they did a one-day study. So they estimated an average of 26 trucks per weekday coming into Hudson that would be diverted. But 22 of those were small, meaning under 4 axles, and
Which would not be impacted by
and
this.
4 were large.
This would not be impacted by.
It would be large.
It's only the 53-foot trucks. that
So,
are big.
and the 4 large, they defined large as 4 or more axles. But the 53 footers, I think are,
They have the same axles as a
As a
48
48.
footer. That's the problem. I'm not
They
sure
just
they
have,
tell
they
the
just have a
difference.
longer.
but what I'm getting at is that we're talking about
Small volume.
potentially a small volume, like coming that way.
Mhm.
9G 23B into the city. Now coming the other way though, the volume was 4 to 5 times higher. So, 21 average trucks per weekday coming the other way. Large. 98 total, but 21 large, and on the weekends, 4 large. So again, the volume is about 4 times the volume coming in 9G 23B. So the bottom line, what I'm deducing from this is the trucks coming in 9G 23B that would be diverted. The large trucks would be very small volume, and they would either go to 9 or 9H. And they more likely to go to 9H because they would want to have to deal with circumnavigating through the city.
But we have a stepwise approach that we can take.
Yeah.
Where we start with 53-foot trucks.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Then we can consider the next step.
And the other thing that we are going to look at, we haven't gotten back to it yet, but we do have some money left over from the truck study that we have permission to use to do a study of weight limits on what our infrastructure can actually do. So they
Yeah.
need to try
I found something very interesting in that regard.
Yeah,
There is I've requested a budgetary proposal from one company to do core drilling and traditional kind of engineering, but it actually withdraw soil and,
Yep.
but there's another company that offers a thing called a falling weight deflectometer, which is non-destructive. It's a trailer. It drops a weight on the road and it has these series of sensors. And as those sensors pick up vibrations, they just have a history and they know how strong the road is based on. And companies out of Pennsylvania are they like to make sure everything's thawed, may have an opening in April, but they're gonna provide me with a
and
budget for
what was
that.
the price of it?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm due next week. That's why I was heading for it. Yeah,
Did you get a cost on the other one?
none, both are due. I just
All right.
requested them this week.
Good.
But it's a very interesting way they could do all of these roads in one day with the deflectometer. They just keep moving.
And I really
Sounds
think
like it would be less costly than drilling.
I think so. I didn't stop the other one because I'd like to know both.
Yeah.
so. That's what I've got for tonight. Anyone want to bring up any new business? No? Good.
So how quickly could this change be implemented?
I think
All
that we
right.
need. Go on.
No, nothing. I don't have nothing.
Okay,
I
we
think,
need to look back to the
Chief-
police department.
yeah, Chief Franklin, I think wanted to bring it up at the
I think
informal council meeting, just to make sure that all the council members were informed and on board. It is, as Margaret said, illegal today. And it could be enforced at any time. I think they needed to think internally about how they would do it.
And they would have to look back with, the state DOT commercial enforcement team, whom they work with, but they would have to look back at that as well.
I think, wasn't it actually the state police
Yes,
commercial, yeah,
yeah.
I think the
They,
sort
they,
of DOT.
they were calling them the DOT unit,
Yeah,
but it's the state police that enforce commercial vehicle. CB. Okay,
Sounds really encouraging.
yes, I think so. It only took 8 months to get an.
No time at all.
All right, if there is nothing else, can I have?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Right. Are you the commissioner?